Well, a pleasant good afternoon to you and you and you. Whatever part of the world you may be joining us from, we say welcome to another edition of Transforming Lives One at a Time. We are coming to you from beautiful Tobago in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, for those of you who may be now joining us for the very first time, this program seeks to address social issues, any and everything that affects the human experience. We are about bringing hope, highlighting issues and solving problems. Today we will continue the discourse on drug abuse and alcoholism, drug rehabilitation and other related areas. My guest today is Behavioral Services Officer at the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Ms. Sherman Charles. Ms. Charles, welcome once again to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, they say once it's nice, you do it twice, right?
So true.
Well, Ms. Charles, let's start with the basics. What exactly is demand reduction, and why is it such a key part of tackling substance abuse?
So demand reduction, I'm just going to simplify it and then explain.
Yes.
So demand reduction is basically reducing the desire for and the consumption of substances. And mainly looks at doing that in two ways. So first of all, it's prevention, and then there is also treatment. Okay. So prevention looks at educating persons about the dangers of substance use. So we're looking at going out there and doing presentations, doing media presentations, having awareness campaigns, basically to give persons the right information where substance use is concerned. Because a lot of persons are using because they don't have the right information. They don't understand how it affects them, not just physically, but socially and otherwise. Okay. So we have that prevention aspect of it. And then we have the treatment aspect of it, where we look at treating persons who are using substances. And not just treating them to come off the substance now, but to stay off of it and to become more productive persons within their communities. Okay. And so those two work together because we want to ensure that the demand for that substance, the amount of persons who may be going out and seeking alcohol, seeking to get marijuana or cocaine, that is reduced by ensuring they're educated about the dangers and that they have the necessary treatment and support to stop their use.
Okay. Do you also design behavior modification programs and of course consult with medical personnel regarding, let's say, the best treatment options for patients?
Yeah. So what is so interesting about treatment is that it has to be individualized.
Right.
Because not everybody's experience is similar. I mean, you may have two persons who might be using the same substance, but their reasons for using it might be different. Or they might be having the same reason for using the same substance, but the support they have to stop their use might be different. And so that behavior modification involves counseling. It also involves referring them to other treatment. So that's why you talk about the medical part of it. We have some persons who may need that medical intervention, or those persons who may need to go to a inpatient facility, those persons who may have to go to the hospital to detox. Right. So you have that referral pathway. And then it also looks at ensuring that they have that support. Because, you know, drug use is a behavioral issue.
Yes.
It's a behavior that we want to try to stop. And so we need to ensure that they have that support, that when they're ready to stop or when they have stopped, that they have persons who are able to help them continue to stay, continue to focus on their sobriety. So behavior modification is not just about changing that person's behavior, right, but ensuring that even with that behavior change, they have the support to sustain that behavior change.
Yes.
So we do a lot of modification, and then we also do a lot of referrals as well.
Well, even as you were talking, I cannot help but thinking that as you go through the treatments, it's like you're holding someone's hand and guiding them to a better situation.
Yes. And what's important is that they have to be able to say what is it they want. And so you may have someone who comes in for treatment and, you know, they may not want to stop their use, but they're realizing, listen, I need to cut down. And so we have to give them those skills and those resources and those tips they need to reduce their use. And then we always hope that with the reduction, then eventually you're going to stop.
Yes.
And so that's why it's so important to look at persons on an individual level,
yes,
and really understand what is their treatment goal. Because my treatment goal for everyone will be to stop using substances.
Of course.
But that will not be for everyone.
Right.
So we kind of have to reach them where they are, ensure they stick to that goal, and then sort of, you know, get them to a point where they realize, okay, listen, I really, really need to stop.
Right, right, right. Well, Ms. Charles, as we continue to fight against addiction, swimming upstream, I would call it, do you feel our efforts are enough, or is there still more ground to cover?
I don't think there will ever be a time where our efforts would be enough.
Okay.
I don't think I mentioned it before when I was here, I can't remember, but we're fighting a battle where substance use is concerned, because certain substances are widely accepted within our communities.
Yes.
And so while we may have those persons who are going out there and doing the education, those persons who are going out there and doing that support work, the AA groups and so forth, those persons who are offering treatment services,
yes,
we sort of have to battle with a community that may be thinking, listen, maybe using marijuana isn't as bad as we think it is. Maybe drinking alcohol isn't as bad as we think it is. And so we always have so much work to do. I think what we have to do, what we're missing, is the ability to really have the mindset of the community change,
right,
where substance use is concerned.
Yes.
And that could be a bit difficult. When you have someone who's using substances and they seem to be okay and they seem to be functioning,
yes,
you know, we call them the functional addicts.
Right.
It's very hard for you to go to that person and be like, whatever, when they could say, but this person uses and they're
yes,
fine. My mom uses and he's fine. My uncle, my friends use. And so I think our work is where we have to involve the community more.
yes,
Sometimes we tend to go in there and do our own thing and feel as though it's okay. But if we start to get the community involved and let them understand the importance of having a community that is free of drug, the benefits,
yes,
I think that is where we'll start to really see great progress where substance use reduction is concerned.
yes. And even as you're talking about that, I remember I was speaking to a gentleman on an interview here, and he was saying that some years ago there was a campaign, I can't remember the exact name, but I think it was Get Rid of Charlie, as in garbage, yeah? And he said he has never seen a campaign so effective. And when he said that, something kind of started to stir within me.
Yes.
Is it that probably we need to bring back these kind of robust campaigns? So when you're driving on the road and you're seeing the billboards, that is all, okay, say no to drugs,
Yes.
say no, you know, to that kind of thing. And everywhere you see it, because of course, wherever you go, you're visual. So whatever information you see, that is what you will internalize.
Yes.
So I'm thinking maybe we need to start a more robust campaign and have the entire nation buy into it.
Yes.
Each home, each community, and of course it will spread. So if we have every single individual saying the same thing, doing the same thing, and encouraging each other to do the right thing,
Yes.
then I think that will be a win-win situation.
And I love how you said we need to get that buy-in from everyone.
Yes.
Because, you know, we have a tendency to put things on this person. So
Right.
this is the police responsibility, this is the school's responsibility, this is the THA's responsibility.
Yes.
And we have to take responsibility for our own spaces.
Of course.
When I talk about spaces or workplaces,
Yes.
or families or communities or churches, wherever we may find ourselves. And I think that robust thing you're talking about, it's so
Yes.
important, but we really need to get every single Tobaconian on board, and not just the THA, and not just the police,
Yes.
and not just student support services, but every single person that lives in Tobago needs to be on board with that
And
message.
it could happen.
It can.
We just have to want it bad enough.
Yes.
Because when you know, as an individual, you'll have a goal, you'll have a vision, you'll have a dream. And once you have that kind of persistence, that level of determination,
Yes.
ain't nothing going to stop you.
That's so true. And I think sometimes we tend to think that because it doesn't affect me directly,
Yes.
it doesn't affect me.
Yes.
And we've seen that where crime is concerned, we may not be affected directly, but we know we're not as comfortable leaving our cars open.
Right.
We're not comfortable leaving our doors open.
Yes.
So even though it's not affecting us directly, it's affecting us indirectly. And I think we need to really consider how substance use and those dangers can affect us in an indirect way.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, the conversation has been in the domain for quite a while now, with us not having a drug rehab center in Tobago. As someone who has first-hand knowledge about the statistics in the Tobago space where drug abuse is concerned, how critical would you say a dedicated drug rehabilitation center is for Tobago now?
And I just want to pause here and say that we have a problem with drug rehabilitation centers, Trinidad and Tobago. So we don't have any drug rehabilitation centers in Trinidad and Tobago that are free. You have to pay for what we have. What we had in Trinidad that were free have since been shut down. And so the problem with drug rehabilitation is not just a Tobago problem, it's a Trinidad and Tobago problem.
Okay.
Why I think it's so important for Tobago is simply because of the fact that it's hard for persons to even come and decide, okay, they want to get into rehab. And it's even harder for them to say, okay, let me leave my job, my family, let me get on a plane, let me get on a boat and get to Trinidad. Because what happens while you're on that plane or while you're on that boat, they might think, you know what, I don't want to do this. It's too much, it's too hard. And I think why a rehab center, an inpatient facility in Tobago is important is because we need to have treatment easily accessible for Tobagonians.
Okay.
And I just want to put a plug in here that the rehab is not necessarily supposed to be a THA rehab.
Right.
Or a government rehab. But if we have persons who are interested in treatment, are interested in working in treatment, I think as stakeholders we can come together and we can decide, listen, this is important for Tobago. What can we do to ensure that this rehab center is established and is functional in Tobago? Right. I think it's so important, the amount of persons that will come and then you do their assessment and realize, listen, these persons will really benefit from a rehab facility, but they can't leave.
Right.
There are mothers who don't want to leave their children, there are fathers who don't want to leave their families. There may be a young man who just started a job and he doesn't want to leave his job and go to Trinidad.
Right.
And so we have to really look at what can we do as stakeholders, as persons who are interested in this field. What can we do to get a rehab on board?
Yeah, because just last week I was making a clarion call, you know, to all and sundry, even the private sector, because we were also talking about the fact that if we don't invest our resources now, these are the same people that will come back to haunt us later on in life when we want to retire and just relax. And you know, these are the same persons because there is a problem. And if there is a problem, just like if you are feeling ill, you're feeling a pain in your chest, you wouldn't stay home and lie down and say, well, that pain will go away. No, you will rush to the health center and say, listen, I am feeling a pain and I need help. So even so, persons who are challenged with this issue also need a place that they can be able to say, well, listen, I need help. Or a family member might be able to say, listen, my son needs help, my daughter needs help, my nephew needs help, and get that area that they can be able to go and access that help easily. And if we are to look at it that way, I think by next year this rehab center should be up and running.
And I think what's important is that we do have, you can access counseling. You can access counseling for substance use through the mental health units at the TRHA and through the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Program at the Division of Health. And so we have those persons who come in for that. But then we also need to have a space where persons can go into an inpatient facility.
Yes.
Because there are persons who the outpatient treatment wouldn't work for them.
Right.
It may work, but it would not be as effective
Yes.
as if they had an inpatient. So I'm glad that you made that call for
Yes.
everyone to get on board. I think it's really important, and the time for waiting to see who is going to do something,
Yes.
I think that time has long
Yes.
passed. And so we have to really start to make it our thing,
Of course.
and make it our responsibility and see what we can do.
Definitely. And even when that center becomes, and I'm saying when, not
Yes.
if, you know.
Yes.
not if at all. So when that center becomes a reality, what do you think it would mean for the people and communities of Tobago?
I think the first thing it will mean is that we see people. I remember there was a mother that came. She had a daughter was struggling with substance use. And she said basically she feels as though nobody cares because everywhere she goes, she can't get the necessary help for her daughter.
Right.
And the help that she really needs was an inpatient facility.
Okay.
And so I think the first thing that would happen when we have that facility is that persons in Tobago understand that Tobagonians care.
Yeah.
That we understand their struggles, we understand their needs, and we're working to ensuring that those struggles could diminish and that their needs could be fulfilled. So I think the first thing we're doing is that we're making persons feel heard and feel important.
Right.
I think the second thing we're going to need is start to deal with substance use and look at demand reduction.
Okay.
I think a big part of demand reduction is the treatment.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping that with a facility like that, we have persons more willing to enter into treatment. So the excuses of having to fly to Trinidad,
Yeah.
the possibility of them reaching on the boat and then when they reach Port of Spain, they decided not doing it again.
Yes.
Because you know that time period you're going through, you're thinking.
Of course.
And so you have persons who are able to access the treatment that they need. And then essentially we want to see a Tobago where we have a reduction in persons addicted to substances, in persons using substances harmfully.
Yes.
And we want to see just a general reduction in substance use as well.
Right. I want to get something off my chest, so to speak. There would be some persons who would say, you know, they would be listening to the discourse and drug rehab, and they would have the perception, well, I didn't send them there. They look for that. I mean, so they don't know if they drink too much, they're going to end up in the drain and they will end. What do you have to say to people with this kind of mindset?
I was that person. I would always say, you know what you're doing. You know the dangers, but you still go ahead and do it. Well, you sort out yourself.
Right.
Until I got into the field and then you heard the stories of the reasons why. And I remember telling someone, if I were in person situations, I might have done the same thing.
True.
I might have been using as well. I always like to give this example, but I remember using alcohol to deal with grief. And grief is an everyday thing.
Yes.
Someone is always dying. You could lose your job. You could lose a family member. You could lose a friend. And I was using alcohol to deal with it. And I want persons to understand that the reason behind it is not as simple as it is. Okay. Most persons are using substances just to simply cope. Yeah. They want to not think about the hurt. They want to not think about the pain. And so when they use these substances, it's a quick fix.
Yes.
So for that short period of time, for an hour, a half an hour, 2 hours, I don't have to think about somebody dying. I don't have to think about that I lost my job, I don't have any money tomorrow.
Yes.
I don't have to think about my wife has left me, my relationship has crumbled. And so we have to understand that persons are hurting.
Yeah.
And when persons hurt, they try to fix their hurts. Yeah. And unfortunately, some persons run to substances because it's really just a quick fix. Yeah. And so I want us to not feel as though, okay, yeah, they look for it. Right. But let's look at what is the reason why and how we can help.
Okay. Well, on that note, we are going to take a short break and we will be right back. Stay with us. You're viewing Transforming Lives, one at a time.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center, Store Bay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Do you need electrical and plumbing supplies from construction to finish? Then check out Voodoo's Enterprises Limited, Milford Road, Canaan, Tobago. Get LED bulbs and fixtures, septic tanks, water pumps, laminate flooring, press cut power tools, and so much more. Open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. Call 280-2050 or 660-4970. Voodoo's Enterprises Limited.
Hi, I am Deanne, host of Transforming Lives One at a Time, and I would like to introduce you to our brand new segment, Good Vibes, Good News. And this is where you have the opportunity to highlight your good news. You can send your 90 seconds video to our WhatsApp number 868-701-2099. That's 868-701-2099. Let's hear some of the good news that we never hear about. Good vibes, good news. Inspiring hope. Celebrating wins. Truly grateful.
Welcome back to the program. My guest today, Miss Sherman Charles. And just before the break, we were talking about some misconceptions, should I say, yes, or some perceptions that people would have when you talk about someone who is addicted to drugs or they are an alcoholic.
Yes.
Right? They made their bed. No, you have to lie on it. Let's be real about this.
So we never see things as important unless they affect us.
Yeah.
And human beings are selfish people. We're genuinely selfish. And so because we wouldn't do something, or we think that if we're in that situation, we wouldn't do what that person do, we tend not to want to be able to sympathize.
Yes.
And so you have to be able, when you're dealing with persons who are dealing with addiction, who are dealing with substance misuse, you have to be able to sympathize. Because the stories you would hear, persons who have been in abusive relationships, who have suffered child abuse, who have suffered neglect, who have grown up in foster homes and moved from home to home, and they have not been able to deal with the trauma. They have not been able to deal with the stress. Some persons just can't even deal with their anger. Yeah. They're not able to control their anger. And the only way they could calm down when they're upset is to smoke marijuana. And so we think it's as easy as, well, find something else to do. But the reality is it's not as easy for some persons. Some persons just have not been able to develop those adequate coping skills. Yes. And I mean, everybody wants a quick fix. Whatever will fix me quicker is what I will take. Yeah. I mean, how many of us, as soon as we get a headache, we run to the doctor and we pop some pills. We need Panadol. I'm always popping Excedrin migraine. Yes. When you don't want to look at, okay, Sherman, did you drink enough water? Right. Did you eat chocolate today? No. And I think that is the same thing with persons, most persons with using substances. Yes. It's that quick fix to fix what they're feeling, to not feel what they're feeling, to fix their hurts. And so we really have to understand that most persons don't just decide today, you know, today's the day I want to become an addict. Right. Today's the day I want to become an alcoholic. It's what is happening in their lives that they're not able to cope with and that they go to this substance.
Yes, and even as you were talking, I remembered some years ago, I saw a lady, a homeless lady, and I wanted to find out what happened, because that was the time, you hardly see homeless persons around and stuff. And someone was explaining to me that she lived abroad most of her life, and then she kept sending back money home to build a house. And they were sending pictures and stuff, how things were progressing. And then one time she just decided she's going to make a surprise trip. And she came back to Tobago, and there was just the foundation. Nothing else. No blocks, no doors, no windows, no roof. All the monies that she would have worked hard, she was sending it to a family member. And this was the end result. She ended up on the streets. She lost her mind.
Now, some persons would fight. Some persons might end up in jail.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you might be the one to end up in jail. You hit somebody, kill somebody, whatever, because you get so upset.
Yes.
And so we have to really understand, because that is a situation. Listen, you see now, for me, and I hate to say it now, but would you not rather her just drink something to calm down than to be on the streets?
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of persons are going through a lot of situations that we don't know about, and we have to really try to be a little bit more sympathetic where that is concerned.
And not be so judgmental.
Yes.
If it were me, I would have done this. Everybody has a different battle that they have to face. What I may ace, you may be in shambles. You might end up in St. Anne's, God forbid. Because I would have the grace to deal with this, but you will crumble under that pressure. So the bottom line of what we are saying here, please don't be so quick to pass judgment.
Correct.
When you see persons going through these situations, don't be quick. If you could give a word of encouragement, do that. If you could probably send them to somewhere that they could be able to get the necessary help and treatment, do that. All right? So from today, we are turning a new page. We're no longer thinking about that. All right? So, Ms. Charles, when it comes to alcohol use, can you break down the 1, 2, 3 rule for us? What does it really mean?
So that is what we would call harm reduction. It's also part of drug demand reduction, where for persons who may not be at a space where they want to stop using, we give them the tips to use safely.
Okay.
So the 1, 2, 3 rule is basically, for women, it's 1 drink per day. For men, it's 2 drinks per day, and generally no more than 3 drinks in one occasion. Okay. And so it's basically to encourage them to control the amount of alcohol that they are drinking. It's just a guide.
Right.
Does it work? Because, sometimes everybody's body different. So 1 drink might really tip me over the edge, and then 1 drink for somebody else will be like, okay, that's fine.
Yes.
But it's really just harm reduction to just know, okay, control your drinking so you don't get into any dangerous situations, accidents, and so forth. So that's what we call harm reduction.
Very well, very well. I'm so glad you explained that. Well, Ms. Charles, studies have shown that 1 out of 10 individuals will experience an alcohol or drug addiction or some kind of addiction. I mean, there are so many addictions.
Yes.
We have not spoken about, so you have to come back again because we don't have enough time today. In terms of gambling, addiction, and so many other things. Do you think we need to normalize open conversations about alcohol use and the dangers involved when it gets out of control?
And I think more so in a Tobago context we need to, because alcohol use in itself is so normalized.
Right.
We just had Carnival.
Yeah, of course. Ooh.
And then we have harvest.
Yes.
And then we have funerals.
Of course.
And then we have weddings. We have christenings.
Birthday parties.
Birthday parties. Every single event, whether you're crying or you're laughing, we use alcohol. And I think because alcohol use has become so normalized within Tobago, that we have to normalize the message about its effects.
Okay.
Because persons don't see alcohol as anything big. 1, because it's 2 of the legal drugs.
Yeah.
And we know about tobacco because everywhere you look, where you see tobacco sell, you say it's smoking kills, smoking
Yes.
kills. We don't have that with alcohol.
Yes.
When you look at all the ads, somebody's laughing, smiling, having fun.
Of
It's
course.
nice. It tastes good. And I saw just like alcohol use seems to be normalized.
Yeah.
We need to counteract that by normalizing the messages about the dangers of alcohol use, and not just on the person's
Yes.
physical body, but within the society, within our
course.
communities, and so forth.
Yeah, because I'm looking at loss. You're losing so much time sometimes because the effects of that.
Yes.
By the time you finish and you get this hangover, and then I can't go to work tomorrow
Yes.
because
Yes, and so it's you're losing productive.
Yeah,
you're losing productive
Of
hours
course.
because you're not productive while you're drinking.
That's right.
And then for some persons, depending on how much they drink, they have to take like a day or 2 days to recover.
My God.
Yes. So I think it's very important. The
Yes.
same kind of message that we put when it comes to tobacco smoking.
Yeah.
It's the same message we have to put when it comes to alcohol use as well.
And we have to start from the primary schools.
Oh yes.
To get that information
Not
into
even
their
from
psyche.
the primary schools, from the preschools, because by primary schools, somebody walk into somebody's house
Yeah.
during harvest,
Of course.
and pick up a bottle and sneak around with their friends and go on and drink
And drunk.
and drunk. So we have to start from the primary school levels, and we also have to be very vigilant. A lot of times we're not vigilant.
Right.
So where we see children drinking and they turn a blind eye because that's my child and whatever. And so we have to be vigilant, and we have to really be each other's keeper.
Yes, I totally agree. Well, as we take a deeper look at an addiction, we know that an addiction occurs when an individual engages in behavior, and of course they have difficulty stopping or managing.
Yes.
So the question is, why do you think it's often so hard for someone to admit that they have a problem with alcohol and to ask for help? Water more than flour, so to speak.
We spoke about that a little bit when you spoke about the judgment.
Yes.
It looks bad when a man comes and says he has a problem, because a big man like you don't know how to control your alcohol.
Right. Okay.
It's weird. And then it looks bad for a woman to do it, because why are you, a woman, drinking alcohol so much?
Yeah.
We judge a lot.
Yes, judgmental.
And so because we judge a lot, persons are not willing to open up and say, listen, I have a problem. And there are some persons who really don't think they have a problem.
Yeah.
Because they're functional. So I can drink and get drunk over the weekend, but I go to work Monday to Friday.
Yes.
I'm still able to draw a salary. I'm still able to get money and so forth.
Right.
And so we have persons having to deal with that stigma. And then we have persons who feel as though I'm fine. Once I could go to work, once my children are fed, it's not a problem. And so that's why it's hard sometimes to get persons into treatment, because they don't want nobody to know what's happening. They don't want nobody to know, listen, I'm an alcoholic. They don't want nobody to know that. They don't want to hear that word. And then they're not at the point where they feel as though they have a problem. And those are two of the main reasons why persons just aren't coming for treatment at all. They don't see it as an issue. And I don't want nobody to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to admit it to myself, far less for somebody else to know.
And the fact that they think, I could handle this. It seems like if it's a little out of control, but don't worry, I've got a handle on this one.
Because I think we always, at some point in time, we feel invincible for different reasons. And we feel as though I am not as bad as that person.
Yeah. At least I ain't falling down in the drain and somebody had to pick me up and carry me home. And
somebody's always worse than me. At least I don't be at the rum shop all day.
Right.
At least I don't leave work a fortnight and go to the rum shop and buy out drinks.
Yeah.
There's somebody always worse than me, so I am not that bad.
Okay.
And so we have to battle with that thought process and that idea as well.
Wow. Well, how would you describe the current state of alcohol use in Tobago? Is it more of a cultural norm? And I think I get the answer for that already. So is it more of a cultural norm, or are we seeing signs of a growing public health concern. And I want real talk, eh?
It's a mix. We're seeing both. So it is a cultural norm. The price of alcohol will continue to increase.
Yeah.
And nobody kicked a fuss.
True.
Because at the end of the day, I still buy my alcohol.
Of course.
So that's why they were very smart when they knew to raise the price of alcohol, because regardless of what it's going to
They are
sell,
going to buy.
they're going to buy it. So they're going to make money off of that.
Right.
And so we have the culture where alcohol is widely accepted. There is, it's just accepted. It's just normal. It's just a part of the culture. I mean, you can't go to a party and not drink.
I mean,
you can't go to a harvest and not buy cases of beers to give away. So it becomes part of our culture.
Yeah.
It's how we lime. It's how we party. It's how we interact. It's how we socialize.
It's how we enjoy ourselves.
It's how we enjoy ourselves. Okay. We have to.
I'm not saying that's how I enjoy myself. I'm just saying what the man on the street will say. Okay, so please.
And then we have a lot of these persons having health issues.
Right.
A lot of persons who are diabetic are drinking, and so it makes their situation worse. We have a lot of persons who are having liver issues and kidney issues because of their use. We have a lot of persons who may be having heart issues as well because of their use. Unfortunately, don't have the statistics. Right. But if you should go to the hospital and then you should do those things and you ask how much you drinking, you would be amazed to see how much they are drinking.
Right.
And so what is happening, or what could happen, is that we have our hospitals filled with persons who have all these issues, and it's a result of them drinking.
Right.
And so we have to be so mindful of the fact that a lot of persons are dying younger, having heart attacks, or having strokes because they're drinking a little too much. I know of family members who before the age of 40 had a stroke.
Yeah.
And that was because he was an alcoholic.
Right.
Very intelligent guy. And then that was the end of it. And so we may not be seeing it major now.
Right.
Again, I don't have statistics, so I'm not sure what the hospital will say. But we don't want a situation where it becomes such a major issue that our healthcare system cannot be able to deal with it.
Of course, because it's already creating such a burden on the healthcare system.
Yep. And we know our healthcare system is already burdened with all these chronic illnesses and all these lifestyle diseases and so forth. And so we don't want a situation where we're compounding that with all these substance use related diseases and illnesses. But I think because it's so a part of our culture, it's something that we're fighting with. People will say, yeah, we know cocaine is bad. We know the cigarette is
but I just need a little bit.
A little for the stomach's sake.
Yeah.
So yes, we have that happening really in Tobago.
Wow. What kind of community-based interventions or awareness campaign do you think could make a difference in changing attitudes towards alcohol use in Tobago? Or might I say in Trinidad and Tobago, one country?
Yeah. I think something that we tend to not focus a lot on is having these community groups and these extracurricular activities for children not to just get involved in, but to be mentored by.
Okay.
We tend to focus on going out there and doing a presentation, but we also have to have our youths involved in positive things.
Yeah.
And when they're involved in these positive things, the urge to use might be different. The persons they surround themselves with will not be persons who might be getting drunk in a bar.
Right.
And so we have to start from there, ensuring that they have mentors within the communities to really encourage our young people on the right path. And I think that is something that sometimes we tend to bypass, because we're so focused on these big education campaigns and going out and educating, but we really need to have more of these groups in the communities. I think what's also so important is having every community group touched. So the schools, the clinics, the churches and faith-based organizations, the NGOs, the non-community groups, the supermarkets, the business owners. We have to have everybody on board when we're doing these community awareness programs.
Yes.
It's not just about education, but it's about ensuring that this is a community that says, everybody says, listen, we are saying no to drug use in this community.
Yes.
And once the community knows this is what the entire community believes, then we may be able to see a shift as well.
Right. And as you were talking, I remembered in one of the sporting clubs, just recently I was having a conversation and a young man was there. He was probably about 17 or 18. So we just started chatting. You know, I like to talk with young people. Well, I'm young as well, please. Younger persons. You know, and we just started chatting, and I was talking to him about drug use, alcohol. He said, well, miss, I am a very serious young man and I love playing football. And my coach told me that if I'm playing football and I'm serious about this, I cannot use any drugs and I cannot use any alcohol, and I'm sticking to that. Listen, I wanted to shake the guy's hand. Because I wanted to give him an award.
Because once children have goals, a lot of the times they just don't have a goal. They don't know what they're doing tomorrow or the next day.
Right, because they don't have the mentors.
And I think that is so important to ensure children have goals.
Yes.
And they have the necessary skills to resist the substance use, to deal with the stress, to deal with the anger. And I think that's a big part of a community-based campaign, something that looks at developing the life skills and ensuring that we have mentors, not just adult mentors, but youth mentors as well.
Certainly, certainly. Well, on that note, we are going to take another short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center, Storebay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Do you need electrical and plumbing supplies from construction to finish? Then check out Voodoo's Enterprises Limited, Milford Road, Canaan, Tobago. Get LED bulbs and fixtures, septic tanks, water pumps, laminate flooring, press cut power tools, and so much more. Open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. Call 280-2050 or 660-4970. Voodoo's Enterprises Limited.
Hi, I am Deanne, host of Transforming Lives One at a Time, and I would like to introduce you to our brand new segment, Good Vibes, Good News. And this is where you have the opportunity to highlight your good news. You can send your 90 seconds video to our WhatsApp number 868-701-2099. That's 868-701-2099. Let's hear some of the good news that we never hear about. Good vibes, good news. Inspiring hope. Celebrating wins. Truly grateful.
Welcome back to the program. And just before the break, Ms. Charles, we were talking about communities coming together and us having a more holistic approach, everyone working together, hand in hand, group effort, stakeholders coming together, recognizing, listen, we have a problem, we have an issue. And you know, the thing about it, we have the problem and we also have the solution.
Yes. And I want to put a plug in here. I think one thing that is needed in each community is a support group.
Okay.
I think because that also deals with the stigma where persons feel as though I'm alone in this.
Right.
I don't want to talk to anybody because I don't want anybody to know what is going on. But a support group sort of brings persons in recovery to share their experiences, to share what works, to have somebody who you can lean on when you feel the urge. You can make a call.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that at some point in time, at least in every single community, we can have a support group that lets persons who are dealing with substance use issues,
yes,
and even those family members and friends who are affected by somebody who is dealing with a substance use issue,
right,
can come together and really have that support that is happening. And that is something I think that we don't really have. I know we have our AA and NA groups as well,
yes,
but it'll be really nice that at least in each community we have a space where persons can go and get that kind of support.
Right, of course. And even as we were talking about communities, I was even thinking and considering that the various NGOs, because sometimes we have so many NGOs, yes, in this country, Trinidad and Tobago, yes, and it have an NGO for everything. It seems. The animals and all, NGOs. And I'm thinking that we probably need to come together, maybe persons with like mind.
Yes.
Your NGO is about probably having, I don't know, some kind of reform for persons who have been challenged with issues, yes, like these, and there is another organization that probably is doing something similar, that you could come together, yes, let's come together for a common cause. It doesn't mean that they're taking away from what you are doing,
no, because
iron sharpeneth iron.
Yes.
So if you two come together, you would get a better result, because
yes,
the persons who are supporting you gonna be there. The persons that are supporting the other NGO, they are gonna be there, plus their friends, plus
yes,
their relatives, plus so I'm thinking that we need to come together more. We are too segregated.
I think that's so
everyone
important.
Okay, this is my thing, I'm doing my thing, and we are happy that you're doing your thing.
Yes,
let me speak to the camera. We're happy that you're doing your thing, and you think that you are helping humanity and contributing significantly to the development of your community and nation, and we applaud you. But sometimes we need to come together.
Yes, because we'll have a further reach.
Yes.
And everyone doesn't have all the resources. I mean, even governments have to depend on other governments to help. So it's just to come together. We all have a common goal. We want to ensure that this issue of substance use is dealt with in Tobago.
Yes.
And we have to put our minds and our passions and our resources together to ensure that it's done. That it's not just within, say, Bethel or within Plymouth or within Scarborough, but it touches the entire of Tobago.
So we are looking for the 116. And talking about 116, I think I have to talk to Patricia Nicholson Richards. Because I think we need some ads to get in there.
Yes.
Say no while the program is running, because I know it's the THA runs that program. But while they are doing something could be running there.
Yes.
Emergency contact
numbers,
something. So I am definitely, Patricia, if you're listening to me, I'm gonna call you. All right. Okay. So I want you to walk us through the stages of addiction. And I think this is very crucial.
Yes.
Because obviously this is not something that will just happen overnight. Today, the 28th, today, the 15th of June, I'm good.
Yes.
And by the 17th, I'm an addict. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yes.
So let us be clear that even the smallest child listening to this program right now could be able to understand there is a process, there's stages. Let's talk about that.
So I think we have 5 stages. So the first one is the experimental stage. You've never had it before, let me try it. My friends are doing it, let me try it. I'm a little stressed out today. Let me see if a little alcohol will help me manage the stress. And so we have that experimental stage. So they're just using it one-off, or they're using it on occasion.
Right.
So I may be stressed today, I'll use it. And then I feel extremely stressed, maybe 3 weeks down the line, I use it again. So we have that start with the experimentation. And then we go on to the regular use, or I like to call it the recreational use.
Okay.
So you find a reason to use it that it's regular. So I know when I go on Lime, I'm going to be drinking. I know during the week I'm not drinking, but I know every weekend,
yes,
when I leave work on Friday, I go by a bar
right,
and I take 2 beers. And so we have it being a part of your regular routine.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be every day, but it becomes a routine in some way. So we have that experimentation, we have the regular use. And then we move on to the risky use,
okay,
which is the abuse, where you tend to use more. So that's when you get drunk.
okay,
That's when you get extremely high. That's when you might need a day to recover from your use. And that's when those harmful effects start to step in.
okay.
So before you can manage your alcohol use, you drink it, you take a beer at the end of the day, and then you go home, you relax, you get up, you're functional. But now you're drinking, and it takes you longer to get over it. You're vomiting when you go home. You might be
Right.
passing out.
Okay.
So we have that harmful use that coming in because you start to get those negative effects.
Right.
And then you have the dependence. And so now I know every time I'm stressed, that is what is going to help me.
Okay.
When I wake up in the morning, just for me to get to go to work, I need to take a drink. I know when I come home from work, I need to take a drink to calm down. And so you feel as though it's something I need to do. When I go to lime, for me to have a good time when I'm
Yes.
liming, I need to drink it.
Wow.
And so we have that dependence on it.
Yes.
And then the last stage is the addiction. It's where you can't stop. So you're dependent,
Yeah.
you're having all these negative influences, negative effects,
Yes.
but you're just not able to stop. Your wife may say, listen, if you don't stop today, I'm done.
Right.
And then next 2 days, you're drunk. She left you and think. Your boss tells you, listen, if you want to keep this job, you have to stop drinking.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? I can't fight up. You can't tell me what to do.
Right.
So you leave the job.
Yes.
But you know at least you have your alcohol. And so those are the stages. And a lot of persons think that you could jump from one to the next.
Right.
But it really takes a pattern. For some persons, it takes longer. Depending on the situation, for some persons it takes shorter, but it's rare where you jump from just experimentation
Right.
to addiction. You have to go through the things. So it's experimentation, the regular occasional use, then you have the harmful use, then you have the dependence, and then you have the addiction.
Wow. Because even as you were talking about that wife probably leaving that person, no, and then he's walking out of his job.
Yes.
You said he has his alcohol, but remember, if he doesn't have a job, he needs money to get the alcohol. So it's another stress level.
Yeah. I remember a client said to me, once he gets to a bar, he's going to get something to drink.
Okay.
Without money, or I don't know how this.
Right.
I don't know how they,
friends. Buy me a drink, mama.
Right. And then he bill whatever. But they always find a way to get what they need to get. Some persons steal.
Yeah.
Some persons beg.
Yeah.
Some persons, I know some males and females get involved in prostitution, but they do what they have to do to get that substance. And that is where the addiction comes in, and we talk about those harmful things,
Yes.
you get involved in risky behaviors, you get involved in illegal activities just to ensure you get that thing. And you know you're doing these things, but it's that dependence is already there.
Yeah.
So you have to do what you have to do to get what you need to get.
Wow. So you see why we definitely need that drug hub
Yes.
center based in Tobago. I know they have in Trinidad about
Yes.
12. We're talking about Tobago now.
Yes.
116 square miles. Yeah?
Yeah. And
We
I think
need.
why it's important is because a lot of times when persons are addicted, outpatient treatment is not the best.
Yeah.
They need to be able to be in a space where they could, detox.
Right.
Where they could get away from the influences.
Yes.
Where they can get that intensive treatment and support that they need while they're in active addiction.
Yeah, that is so important because a gentleman was telling me that there was this young man, the employees saw that he had such a major problem and they sent him to rehab.
Yes.
And while he was there, he was so upset. He's going to sue the employees, and he's upset with his family and upset with everyone, until about 3 weeks later, the gentleman said he was passing by a mirror, and then he saw himself. And he literally saw himself for the first time.
Wow.
Because he was so, the toxic, the toxins, they were all out of his body. And then and there, he could have said, wow, okay, I'm not going to sue them again.
Yes.
Because I am happy that I am now seeing myself. He was always there. But because of the influence
of the substance,
and it was so strong and had such a devastating effect on him, it was like he had lost himself.
And I really want to encourage our stakeholders to really come together and see what we can do as Tobagonians.
Yes.
And I know we have a tendency to depend a little too much on government and government entities to do what needs to be done. And I think that we just need to come together. There are resources that we can access within Trinidad and Tobago and outside of Trinidad and Tobago if we really want to have this rehabilitation center up and running.
Definitely. And you, that what you said is so very vital and profound, because too many times I think we depend on the government and government agencies to do this.
Yes.
There is a situation in the community, so the government can see this. You're not seeing it too, you know?
Yes.
I mean, yes, I understand. We put a government in place for these reasons, but I'm saying that sometimes you could come together and do it as a community project. Bring the community together and say, you know what, this area, we don't like how it's looking. The government really supposed to do it, you know. But you know what, I'm going to go down to the hardware, ask them to drop some gravel and contribute something, and we're going to call all the young people in the village and said, let us build this garbage there.
Correct.
The government really responsible, you know, but we are taking the initiative because we are the people that live here.
This is our home.
We are the people that it's affecting.
Yes.
And these people, these persons who are affected by drug use and alcohol use and that kind of thing, these are our people.
Or families, or friends, or
yes,
brothers,
our
sisters.
loved ones, persons that we went to school with.
Of course, church members.
I'm telling you, sometimes you look and you said, my God, I went to school with this boy, look at him for today, and your heart goes out.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that we can't just look at it and turn a blind eye. We have been doing that for too long. We have been pushing things around and pretending that we don't see, and okay, well, it doesn't affect me or it doesn't affect my children. So I'm saying, no, we have got to stop that kind of behavior.
Yes.
And we have got to help more. Put ourselves in a position. I am going to be the game changer here. I am going to be the trendsetter.
Yes.
I am setting the trend for others to follow.
Correct.
All right. So even as we begin to wrap up the program for today, what message would you like to share with individuals who may be struggling with substance abuse or with families trying to support their loved ones on the recovery journey as we wrap up?
I think for those persons who are struggling with substance use, I want them to know that they're not alone. And when I say they're not alone, not that they're not alone or the only person who's struggling, but there are persons out there who can help.
Okay.
There are resources that they can access to get that help. And I want them to understand that. I think that's something that we need to do. We need to have like a directory when it comes to substance use resources where persons can call and reach out. So that's the first thing I want them to understand. And then the second thing is there is hope.
Yeah.
The once an addict, always an addict, it doesn't work.
Right.
That is not it.
Yes.
I have seen persons who have gone into recovery and have been successful going through their recovery. And that could be you. So I want persons to understand that there are resources, there is support, and there is hope. And for those family members, I want them to understand the same thing. And I also want them to understand it's not their fault.
Right.
A lot of family members tend to blame themselves for their relatives or their friends' use. or addiction.
Yeah.
And I want them to understand it's not their fault, and the same support that their relative or their friend can access, they can access as well. Because we do understand treatment is not just for the person who is addicted,
Yes.
but it's also for those persons who have to live with them, who have to work with them, who have to socialize with
Yes.
them. And so that help and support is also there. And I just generally want them to not give up hope. I know sometimes when someone is in active addiction, it looks hopeless.
Yeah.
It's hard. I am not going to sit down here and say it's easy. It's hard. And I also want them to know that we can work with them through those difficulties and to ensure that their family member is okay, their friend is okay, and they are okay as well.
Wonderful. Well said. Well said. What a way to end the program for today. Well, I want to take the opportunity to thank my guest, Ms. Sherman Charles, for taking the time out to be with us today. And of course, I wish you continued success in all your endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Well, viewers, that's how we wrap things up today for another program, Transforming Lives One at a Time. Feel free to share the program, comment, like, and of course, if you have a topic, a burning topic that you would like us to discuss, you can feel free to send us a message. We are on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. All right, so as usual, I leave you with the definition of transformation, which is an internal shift that brings us into alignment with our fullest potential. Hey, we've got this. See you next time.